Hey, what's up guys, Monster welcome to the RPG Maker tutorial. This time, it's Pressure Points from Slay the Spire. Pressure Points is a seemingly not offensive skill that inflicts a number of stacks of a particular state, and then it deals that damage to that target. However, if multiple pressure points are used, that damage, the stacks of the states will continuously add up, which means it'll amount to lots of damage in the late game. Which makes for a very interesting skill, and it honestly didn't take that long for me to make this one because I'm using some of the same ideas as the previous one, which, as of this recording, has not been uploaded yet. So with that said, let's get started. Alright, here we are in the battle scene where we have two skills, Pressure Points and Pressure Points Plus. Now, this is a very, interesting skill, as I said earlier. We'll be adding stacks, just as I said earlier, but the point here is we're going to be actually adding to the same state despite the fact that these are different set number of stacks, so I will be displaying that. So, as the skill displays, it'll apply up 8 stacks of mark, or 8 marks, I don't know how to phrase it, to the target enemy, and then damage is dealt equal to the number of marks. So as you can see there, it did 8 damage, and there's an 8 on top of the enemy's head. We can also use pressure points again, first. It should be, there we go, 16 damage. Now, if we add pressure points plus, we'll be adding 11 stacks. If we do that, we get 27, because math and stuff. As you can see, the damage will slowly rack up over time. Basically, that is just pressure points in general. It's a really interesting skill, but in the actual base game, it's only good if you have multiple of the same skill, aka multiple pressure points. More on that later. But with that, let's go to the explanation. Alright, here we are in our states. This is probably I think this is the only of the 4 tutorials for this month that have me going through 2 tabs of the database, which is interesting. There's actually nothing special with this state, actually. It's just pressure points. There's an icon. The priority doesn't matter. Just don't remove this state at all, basically. Which basically, I'm saying basically way too much. Everything is done within the skill, Pressure Points and Pressure Points Plus respectively. So we're going over that now. Hey, here we have Pressure Points. Skill type doesn't matter. We'll be sending the skill to one enemy. Occasion battle screen, typical stuff. We'll be having this set to certain hits because this skill isn't an offensive skill, so technically it will always hit regardless. Then again, Slay the Spire doesn't have accuracy played into account. But in the game, it ignored defenses, so we'll be sending a certain hit regardless. Having the animation. Here we have the formula. Using the Buff&States core, we can use this script that says that we can deal damage equal to the target's state counter for state 117. 117 was the ID for pressure points. Now we go into our note box for this particular skill. We're going to be setting, don't know what you call this, but basically this section is, all this takes place before the skill deals all of its shenanigans like adding states or dealing damage. To be adding the state, yeah, actually, I guess because if you have Buff&States core, you know that one command that lets you change so you can add state counters when you reapply? You might have to move this within this conditional branch so that no problems really occur. Regardless, same conditional branch as last tutorial if the target does not have a state counter for state 117, aka if they don't, if they don't have any state counter, so as seen before, it didn't have a state counter regardless. We'll be setting a state counter for 117, setting it to 8, because this particular pressure points sets the counter to 8 marks. Otherwise, we'll be adding 8 to it. Action sequence doesn't really matter. Action animation, action effect, you know, all the good stuff. Because this all will be taking place after all of this. Actually, way after. But basically that's the same thing with Pressure Points Plus. Instead it's 11 stacks though. Same damage formula. Instead we'll be replacing all the 8s with 11s. Yeah, pretty short one, but... well, now it's the outro. Alright, hey, it's Runva, so I'm here in the outro. This has been an interesting one. I really enjoyed making this one. It only took me 20 minutes, but it was enjoyable to make regardless. I have played a bit of Slay the Spire. AKA a bit being like 5 hours. Which is still somehow almost as much as how much I played Final Fantasy VII, which is weird because I got that game in like May. But yeah, Pressure Points. Really neat skill in the base game, especially if you're facing an enemy with tons of block or plated armor. What else to say? Ah, that's right. This is the... I'm pretty sure this is gonna be the last tutorial of the year. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you see it. Number 34. Yes, I put the numbers in my thumbnails because I do want to keep track of how many tutorials I've made, basically. It's interesting to take note of. I guess I'll just talk about any normal stuff. Basically, this should come out on the 31st, honestly. Maybe the 30th probably, so I don't do triple uploads. Because the last day is going to be the highlights episode, which is something I am looking forward to and not looking forward to at the same time. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching on this journey of mine of going through several tutorials in 1 year. There's been an experience, but that hiatus was definitely not something I want to do much ever again. That was way too long between tutorials. I apologize for that immensely. At some point, maybe during the break, because I am on my winter break right now, and I come back to school, quote unquote, come back to school, January 5th. Which is a long time from now, but I have time to relax because I finished my homework. Yeah, at that point... oh, that's right, I was gonna say, I mentioned that because over the break I'm probably gonna explore some plugins, aka refresh my mind about plugins I've seen in the past, and new plugins that have since come out. So maybe I'll have some ideas for tutorials by then. Regardless, again, tutorial's over. See you guys, and stay safe.